The news broke like a cold wind through Nashville. Jeannie Seely was gone. The voice that once filled the Grand Ole Opry with songs of love, heartbreak, and hope was now silent. Her burial ceremony became more than a final farewell. It was a chapter closing in the history of country music. But what happened on that day left fans, friends, and fellow artists with emotions they will never forget. There were tears, there was music, and there were moments that will live forever in the hearts of those who loved her. When the official statement was released, the words felt unreal. "We have lost our beloved Jeannie Seely." It was confirmed by the Grand Ole Opry family and shared across every major news outlet. Fans who had grown up with her music described it as losing a family member. One fan wrote online, "Her voice was part of my life's soundtrack. I don't know how to say goodbye." Jeannie wasn't just another country singer. She was a living bridge between classic and modern country music. Her death meant more than the loss of an artist. It felt like part of the old Nashville magic had gone with her. As soon as the news spread, the city began to change. Outside the Grand Ole Opry House, flowers appeared overnight. Handwritten notes said things like, "Thank you for the memories," and "Heaven just got a new voice." Country legends like Dolly Parton, Vince Gill, and Reba McEntire released statements. Dolly wrote, "Jeannie was more than a friend, she was family. I will miss her laugh, her honesty, and her heart." The respect she commanded across generations showed how rare her presence was. Her family confirmed the burial ceremony would be held in Nashville at a place she loved. The announcement invited the public to attend, but requested that the event remain respectful and focused on Jeannie's life. It reminded many of the way Johnny Cash's memorial had been handled, open enough for fans, but deeply personal for those closest to him. The day arrived with heavy clouds, as if the sky itself understood the sadness below. People came from all over the United States, some driving all night to be there. They stood quietly holding photos, vinyl records, and flowers. Inside, the venue was filled with soft golden light. At the front stood Jeannie's casket, simple, elegant, and adorned with white roses. A framed photo showed her in a sparkling stage dress, smiling as if she were about to sing again. Almost every major figure in country music was there. Vince Gill stood near the entrance, shaking hands and offering quiet condolences. Reba McEntire embraced Jeannie's family with tears in her eyes. Brad Paisley arrived with his guitar, saying, "I don't know if I can sing without crying, but I'll try." She'd want music today. The gathering was a reminder of George Jones's funeral years ago, when the biggest names in country stood together, not as celebrities but as friends saying goodbye. A hush fell as the first notes of Amazing Grace filled the air. The choir's voices were soft yet powerful, wrapping the room in peace. Then, Jeannie's longtime friend Bill Anderson stepped forward. His voice shook as he said, "Jeannie wasn't just a singer, she was the heartbeat of the Opry. She gave her time, her wisdom, and her heart to everyone she met." The officiant spoke about her childhood in Pennsylvania, her journey to Nashville, and her rise to becoming one of the most respected voices in country music. He told how she once said, "I never sang to be famous. I sang to tell a story." That simple statement explained why fans felt so close to her. She didn't just perform, she connected. Her songs were like letters to the listener. Brad Paisley performed "Don't Touch Me," Jeannie's Grammy-winning song. His voice cracked at the final note. Several people in the crowd quietly wiped away tears. Vince Gill followed with "Go Rest High on That Mountain," a song he had also performed. At George Jones's funeral, the music wasn't just entertainment. It was the language of goodbye. Her niece stepped forward, holding a small sheet of paper. "Aunt Jeannie taught me that kindness is more important than success. But with her, she had both," she said. The family shared personal moments, Jeannie's habit of sending handwritten cards, her love for baking pies, and how she never missed a birthday. Several fans were invited to speak. One elderly man said, "I saw her perform in 1971. She shook my hand and called me darlin'. I've been her fan ever since." Another young woman said she discovered Jeannie through her grandmother's old records and felt like she had inherited her music. This part of the ceremony showed how Jeannie's songs crossed generations, much like Loretta Lynn's and Patsy Cline's had done. The ceremony felt similar to the farewell of other country legends, like George Jones, Loretta Lynn, and Merle Haggard. Yet it had its own unique warmth. Where some funerals are grand and formal, Jeannie's was intimate and personal. It was less about spectacle and more about genuine love. As the service ended, pallbearers carried the casket outside. A light drizzle began to fall. The crowd followed slowly to the burial site where a small stage had been set for final words. The sound of the rain mixed with soft guitar notes as the last song began. Fittingly, the final song was "I'll Love You More." It had been one of Jeannie's personal favorites. The lyrics spoke of lasting love, even beyond goodbye. People held hands, some whispering, along with the words, "The casket was lowered into the ground. White doves were released into the gray sky, a symbolic farewell." In that moment, you could feel both the heaviness of loss and the peace of knowing she had lived a full, meaningful life. The officiant ended with Jeannie's own quote, "If I can leave this world knowing I made someone feel less alone, then I've done my job." That single sentence summed up why her passing felt so personal to so many. In the days after, tributes poured in online. Videos of her past performances trended on YouTube. Radio stations played her songs back to back. Younger artists like Casey Musgraves and Chris Stapleton called her a guiding light in the industry, comparing her influence to others. Jeannie's impact wasn't about the number of awards or like Dolly Parton, she built her legacy on authenticity. Like Johnny Cash, she stood for truth in her music. And like Patsy Cline, her voice will remain timeless. Her career taught the value of consistency. She didn't chase trends, she stayed true to her sound and her fans. She also showed that kindness is as powerful as talent in building a lasting career, even after the burial ended. Many people stayed near the graveside unwilling to walk away. Some knelt to touch the fresh earth. Others whispered quiet prayers. A small group of fans began softly singing one of her lesser-known songs, creating a moment that was both heartbreaking and beautiful. It wasn't planned. It just happened because that's what Jeannie's music had always done. Bring people together in moments of joy and sorrow. In the crowd, an older woman held a scrapbook filled with ticket stubs, autographs, and photographs spanning decades. She told a reporter that she had seen Jeannie perform more than 40 times. "She remembered my name every time," the woman said with tears in her eyes. "She made you feel like you mattered. That's rare these days." Her words reminded many that Jeannie's legacy wasn't only built on the big stages, but in the countless small, personal connections she made with individual fans. A local Nashville musician shared that Jeannie had once paid for his guitar repairs when he couldn't afford it, insisting on no recognition. "She told me just keep playing and pass it on. That's who she was," he said. Hearing stories like this painted a picture of a woman who used her success not to build walls but to open doors for others. It echoed the generosity scene. In artists like Willie Nelson, who also made it a mission to quietly help others in need, the younger generation of country singers also had their say. Rising star Lainey Wilson told reporters, "Jeannie's advice to me was simple: be yourself, and never let anyone tell you how you should sound." Those words gave me the courage to stick to my style when others wanted me to change. This was proof that Jeannie's influence wasn't frozen in the past. It was still shaping the future of country music. On social media, tributes poured in from around the world. Fans from Japan, Australia, Canada, and the UK posted videos of themselves singing Jeannie's songs in her honor. One video of a small-town choir in Ireland performing "Don't Touch Me" gained thousands of shares. It showed that her music had crossed oceans and touched people who had never even set foot in Nashville. For those who knew her personally, the hardest part was not hearing her laugh again or seeing her backstage at the Opry. Vince Gill summed it up: "She gave more than she took, and she left us better than she found us." As the crowd left, a quiet question seemed to linger in the air. When it's our time to say goodbye, will we have touched as many hearts as Jeannie Seely did? Her life challenges us to think, not about fame, but about the difference we make in the lives of others.